Welcome back to the Uber Tablet blog. My name is Hugo Ortega. Now first let me thank our valuable sponsors here at the Uber Tablet blog, VIA Technologies or VIA, depending what country you're in. But VIA Technology is obviously the manufacturer of the famous mobile C7M processor and also many other products. So thank you VIA for being part of Uber Tablet. Now, this video has been inspired by our good friend Frank Garcia. Hola Frank. Frank is well known as Sea Titanic. I think that's how he wants to be known. And he has inspired me to do a short video on where I'm at today with my mobile technology. Now the reason that I'm doing this video is he posted a big why question titled blog post. And the reason for the why was, why would I bother going to the OQO as it's smaller, has noisier fan speed, less processing power, blah 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 blah. Now I just wanted to give you guys an idea of my perspective on this. Now I think Frank did a fantastic job of defining the limitations of the OQO Model 02. Really great job. That is, if you want to read that post, that is why you should not buy the Model OQO 2. What I want to do today is really describe why it is that I chose to go for it, and it may not suit you in any way whatsoever. It may be that you look at one of the other devices I talk about. So let's get started. Let's start way back when. Now, I'm only going to go back 3 machines ago. The 3 machines ago, this was my preferred device. And in fact, it's very hard to still not have it as my preferred device. I'll get into that a bit later on. But this is the Fujitsu T4215. It'll soon be superseded by the T4210 with the Santa Rosa platform. This, at the moment, is the T4215 Intel processor, dual core, 2.0, 2 gigs of RAM, blah blah blah, magnificent machine. Now why is it that I went for this? A, it's got lovely tablet features. A couple of the main reasons why I went for this, this is probably now about 8 months ago I was using this machine as my primary device. One of the main reasons was that there is a keyboard, and the screen itself, it's the only tablet on the market that swivels both ways, so I can actually do a 360-degree swivel. Okay. Now as I swivel around and I'm in slate mode, which I personally am often, you can see that we've got a power button presented to us in slate mode, which I quite liked. There's an array of programmable buttons, and we should do the famous Hugo zoom in. So there's an array of programmable buttons there. You've got the power at the top. I have a full-size PC MCIA slot. I have a card reader there at the front, audio jacks and so on. Now, valuable piece of equipment. There's extra reasons why I went for this. Now, one of my biggest concerns at the moment and gripes of modern technology is the way in which the manufacturer deals with the extended battery. The extended battery itself should not be an afterthought. It should be like this. Mwah. A current integrated thought. Now look at this. Quick release here on the modular bay section, and I can drop my extended battery. There's a weight saver which covers this slot, which means that the whole unit is lighter. But obviously I couldn't care less about making it lighter because this is about full desktop on the road, right? So I love the modular bay. Now the battery itself hugs, sits, and pertains to the unit. If you look at the Lenovo X60, the battery protrudes at the back. If you look even worse at the Toshiba R400, the battery is this big bolt-on, stupid-looking thing. And I can't see why anybody would use that as an extended option unless you're just desperate to need to look good with the R400 and have to have also battery life. So the battery is the only reason I have not gone for the R400. I love that machine, but I'm not going to go for it because of the extended battery option. Look at that. It takes up the same slot, if I drop that, as the DVD CDRW. Hot swappable. Now you can't tell me that that's not fantastic. Now that to me really worked. If we boot up the machine, you can see that it's not a touch screen. That was not a priority for me before. It is an active digitizer. which means that I have the nice hover coordinate, I have screen rotate, and so on. Lovely, 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 outdoor readable. Look at that, direct sunlight, and you still got plenty of view. And this is the reason for this change of angle on the video camera, because I needed this direct sunlight. It's getting closer to well, we're in winter now in Australia, and the sunlight is at different angles this time of year. So that's physically why I like this machine. Physically, on top of that, my biggest concern is replacing my desktop always, because I do use these as my primary device. I edit movies on these, podcasts on these, we record podcasts on these, I edit photos on these, I develop web pages on these, I send quotes, reconcile bank accounts, run an accounting system on here. So literally I do need these machines to perform for me. Now the main criteria when I speak about desktop replacement is not so much processing power often, but it's these devices, it's the port replicator. Now this port replicator by Fujitsu is why I fell in love primarily with the device. If you zoom in, that's my big plus for me. It's the DVI socket. Now DVI is not something you find in a lot of port replicators, and I have a 23 inch, as you saw in my last video, 23 inch Apple Mac monitor which only takes DVI. So hence I also moved towards this device. You've got VGA, you've got Ethernet, 4 USB ports, and obviously the power. Now the beauty of this device, this port replicator also, is that on top they've provided us with a power button. So I can leave the slate in slate mode and power up the device from on top of the slate while docked. But if I've got the screen closed and purely want to extend onto my desktop, I can still power up the device using the port replicator. So for me this is a big plus. This is why the Fujitsu for me was my unit of choice. Now having said that, what happened is that I became more mobile. As you noticed at the start of this year, I've been to Beijing, I went to Seattle, I've been countless times to Melbourne, and travelling around the place here internally in Australia. I've been on more airplanes than I think that I've ever been in my life in this year only. So it's been a good year, it's been fun. Now what happens is by being more mobile, you have the need to be lighter, and more importantly, more efficient in the way in which you interact with your PC. I need the ability to be able to just pull it out at any given moment, and the T4215, while a fantastic notebook replacement and desktop killer, for me it's not really a mobile solution, not truly mobile. It's definitely portable, we can port it around, but definitely not mobile in the term that we might consider a phone even mobile. So shout out to the mobile phone lovers out there. Now, so we moved down in the timeline towards the Samsung Q1. Now I started off with the Q1, then I went to the Samsung Q1B for Bob, then I went to the Samsung Q1P for Peter. Now the Peter machine I love. It had a lot of enhancements. It has a backlit LED display, it has a 1 GB of RAM, it has a Pentium M processor. For those of you that don't know the difference between a Celeron and a Pentium M, it's basically a little bit of memory stuck inside the processor that makes a difference. On a Celeron, you'll have a 512 kilobit of RAM, of this random access memory. In the level 2 cache, we actually call it. In the Pentium M processor, you have 4 times that. You have about 2 megabytes. And the difference in layman's terms is that the ability to multitask. Obviously, the bigger that level 2 cache, the nicer the multitasking abilities are. So I settled on a Pentium M based Samsung Q1P, which Frank Garcia was very clever to point out that really at MVP Summit this year, when I went and joined all my